Hey everybody, this is James for a new episode of High Voltage Show. High Voltage Show, like you know, is our show where we introduce you to the today's news, the entertainment, the technology, and today exactly we're gonna talk about technology. Lately, we heard a lot of talking about the 5G network. We heard a lot of debate. People have been asking questions. What is that? What's the difference between the 4G? A lot of talking. Anyway, so today I'm gonna break this down for you. I will bring you to the world like this futuristic world of 5G. Get sit comfortably and we're gonna talk about 5G. The 5G is the newest mobile network that is replacing the 4G network that most of us have been using. It's providing a number of improvements in the speed, the coverage, and the reliability. So the 5G network is allow you to do more things that you usually do on the 4G. Simply said, the 5G network is believed to be faster, smarter, and more efficient than the 4G. With a speed of 100 gigabits per second, this network is set to be as much as 100 times faster than the 4G network. But don't feel bad for 4G, because 4G had its glory time too. We all put the red carpet down to welcome 4G in our house when it started to make its wave in late 2000s. Well, so we can imagine how fast is that 5G, but the 4G had its time too. The 4G made the mobile network faster, 500 times faster than the 3G. Because like in the late 2000s, there was a lot of comparison just like that between the 4G and the 5G now. In the late 2000s, that's how it was when they started to compare the 4G and the 3G. So let me give you a real example, like a real life example, how much faster is the 5G. For instance, let's take a movie, like a 2 hours movie that took 26 hours to download in the 3G, and the 4G, it took 6 minutes. Guess how long it's gonna take you to download a movie in the 5G? Just 3.5 seconds. 3.5 seconds to download the 2 hours movie. Is that amazing? That's really, really incredible. So, yes, that's how faster is that 5G. With that it's like a with that lightning speed. I'm wondering if because there is something that I ever wish to happen with that 5G speed. I'm wondering if finally teleportation will not be possible. Why not? So yeah, I'm expecting that. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. It can be the 5G or it can be the 6G. We don't know. Anyway, this 5G is gonna affecting a lot of aspects of our life, like our daily life. So, but the thing is, this 5G network is caught in the heart of the trade war between the US and China. So, but why is that? Why is that? What is the importance of 5G and the trade fight between the US and China? So why is that such a big deal? So, well, we know US and China, I mean the United States and China are on a race to be the first to build up the 5G network. Just like, I mean, this reminds me of something when in the 60s and the 1960s, when the United States and the Soviet Union were on a race to have the supremacy on the nuclear weapon and the conquest of the space. So it was like a race like that. But anyway, now we are in a race for something much more scary, which is the 5G. So what's gonna be the outcome? Like, we don't know. But anyway, so, but apparently the Chinese giant tech company called Huawei is taking the lead. Huawei is like a pioneer in the 5G. But you might know Huawei for selling its like pretty cell phones and things, but actually, as a matter of fact, Huawei is manufacturing and sell out telecommunication network equipment to other countries around the world. So lately, we've seen how the US government raised alarm over a national security threat that represents the utilization of the 5G network equipment made in China. Well, that's why the US President Donald Trump had put a ban on Huawei to preventing US and other allied countries to use those equipments from China, from Huawei. But allied country like Germany, the United Kingdom, they seem like more reluctant to get into this, to get that concern. They're like, they like receive the warning. It's like they'll be like, oh, thank you, US. We know about it, but we'll take care of it, because they claim to allow China and Huawei to do business in the country. So yeah, we'll see how that's gonna happen. But anyway, the allied country, they like take it a little easier than how the US is concerned about the 5G. So actually, the 5G network from Huawei is like very faster, and like they're already starting to operate in the US and Europe. But anyway, the ban is like very effective. They can't really do it a lot in the US right now. So recently, I watched the Huawei CEO, is a Chinese, very well like entrepreneur man. The Huawei CEO, he was in an interview on CBS News with a journalist where he was defending his company. He said like Huawei is just out there to do business, nothing more. So he was saying that there is no valid reason for the US government to be so much concerned about the national security. He was trying to show that the company is just doing business, selling out its things. And so I can imagine how it is for him, because actually the Huawei, US is not where Huawei has been selling more of its cell phones and technology, but the United States represent like a big share of its market though. Anyway, so he thought that the concern of the US government have not really been based on any evidence like so far, and they had somebody even said the US government gotta calm down, like the Huawei technology, the 5G technology of Huawei is not it's not like an atomic bomb, like we gotta cool down and things like that. So anyway, but the concern of the US government is get equipments like telecom equipments from China, that the Chinese government might hack those equipment and try to use those equipment to spy on the US government. There has not been much of proof yet, but sincerely, like if the opportunity is given, like we know it, China would just spy over the US. It's just the opportunities just given. China would, I mean, which country don't? Like most of country would just use those equipment if the opportunity is given. So the US government is just trying to be cautious and being careful with what's gonna happen. So it's like a matter of like security. Both Republicans, Democrats, the intelligence community of the United States, like very taking that really seriously. But for the Huawei and China in general, they think all those like fears are like overblown, like no valid reason. So, but the thing is, a good part of the global supply chain, especially in the tech industry, are from Asia. I mean, not necessarily from China, but Asia, like in Asia in general. If the United States want to be like very careful with equipment that's coming from China and or Asia, but how? Because we know that the United States have, I mean, really use a lot of equipment from Asia. So my question would be, how the US gonna keep up with that? So can we say in the next couple years that the United States is gonna do a big investment in tech industry to foster the create the production of tech equipment and things like that? But Samsung, this big Korean company, recently has launched its 5G phones too. Samsung been like using it, but like the US doesn't really show as much as concern as they show for China, because like Samsung Samsung has been like in this really tight competition with Apple. But anyway, it doesn't really like too much of like worry or something. But you know, we know it. It's like it has something to do with like ideology too, because like Samsung is like a Korean company, like South Korea, where things like are politically a little bit better than China in terms of freedom. Like Samsung can be really an independent company, which like compared to Huawei. I mean, Huawei is like a different from Samsung in a way where we know the Chinese government can really using its power to gain access to information that Huawei would, eventually spy on other countries to have. So I understand where those concerns come from. Like if I was the US president, I would be concerned too, like the same way I would be concerned of what's your intention. Seriously, like Huawei have mastered this technology. They've been selling cell phones. Like now they want to sell this equipment that made it possible to create your own 5G. So US company like T-Mobile, Sprint, they were like merging to work on to create their own version of a 5G. This is like, we're still waiting for that, but like the US president have said it clear that he wants 5G, but it's gotta form the US. It's gotta form the US, like the US 5G, not the China one. We kind of understand the concern. Like China would understand the concern too, just like if the US would try to develop a kind of technology around in China. So, yes, for Samsung it's like different. It's different because Samsung is like more independent than the Korean government. So they can still have access, but it's like, you know, in South Korea we're more like free market, where less government. Anyway, so let's not forget about the economic aspect of this fight, of this race for the 5G. In the late 2000s, when the US won the race for the 4G, this allowed, this have boosted the US GDP for nearly $100 billion. So can we imagine the same scenario where the US win this race for the 5G. Like I watched this on the NBC nightly news. This number, not really, from this show I watched. They said if the US win this 5G race, this gonna boost the economy for around like $500 billion, and an estimation of 3 million jobs gonna be created, direct jobs, indirect jobs, and wow, that's gonna be something. Like I can imagine like all other countries would be happy about that. So yes, but let me say something about the 5G in my home country where I'm from. Unfortunately, we don't really have this high technology. I mean, it's not for soon yet, like this 5G, since it's not really in the US or in the country yet. But we don't really have like those companies that we have. They not really do their they don't really provide good quality of service. Actually, we have two mobile network companies that's selling internet service to. None of them are better. One is not better than the other one. They've been providing a poor, really low quality of service that it's not even like a real 4G. I don't even know what that is. So, I mean, I can imagine how it's gonna take long for us to have that 5G, since those companies, I'm not gonna name any of them. They don't even worth it, I guess. They don't even worth it to name any of them. But I guess they use like really poor quality equipment to provide service. So that's why I want to use the show today to like invite or like call, like make a call for entrepreneur or mobile network entrepreneur who wants to come to Haiti to invest. We're hoping if you want to, it's like open, you can come, contact me or whatever, it's gonna make it. So yes, that's how it is. So well, I think I've said a lot about the 5G and what's the implication, what it's going on, why it's such a big deal, why it is so important, between the trade war between the US and China over this 5G, and how 5G can helping us in our daily life, and like in the future, like in the really pretty close future. And on that, I want to thank all of you who watched this episode of High Voltage today with me, and I'm looking forward to present you other show and other topics that you love, that can really interest you. And I hope you learn something, and that's benefit you. Anyway, until the next time, thank you. Bye-bye.